parted from my face, and the voice said, "Get it done." I walked onto campus, I dropped all of my classes, all of them except my English class. And I went to the counselor's department, I did that. The counselor, Vittorio, asked me not one question. I'm dropping 9.5 units in one day out of 12.5 units, a full term. Not one question. Not one, hey, what, why, when, who, or how. Nothing. She gets on her computer, drops all the courses, and says, "You're all set." I walked in, you would never do that.
No.
You would never do that. You're a counselor, you would never do that.
No.
I walked on to the camp, and by the way, this incident has changed that prerogative at City College. I just learned that recently. They have a whole protocol when people walk into their schools, walk into a counselor and say, "I'm dropping all my classes." They have a whole protocol to keep them safe.
That's great.
So I walk into my English class, which is across the way of City College near Reardon. I walk in, I sit down, I take my note out of my notebook, I read it one last time. I sign it, I just that note. And that is when I'm in the middle of the class and I'm having psychosis and I yell out, "I'll kill you all," in a class filled with 30 people.
Wow.
I wasn't talking to the people. I was talking to the voices in my head. And I just kept repeating, "I'll kill you all," out loud. Nobody did anything. Nobody said anything. People stared at me. And the class was about 30 minutes from being over, and I got up and I left. Nobody followed me. Nobody asked me what I meant by yelling in a crowded class, "I'm going to kill you all." Nobody feared anything. They just thought I was a weirdo.
Is this something, this erratic behavior, was this an ongoing behavior, or was this a first incident in this class?
In that class, I was unraveling on a daily basis.
Right.
In that class, we used to sit. The teacher was a very interesting teacher. She was a beautiful woman, and she would organize the class to be in circles. So here am I in my seat on a regular daily basis, talking to myself out loud. And I would say, before that day, before the attempt, I would say in the class, "I'll kill everybody." And they'd be like, "Kevin, what do you mean?" I'd be like, I'm talking to the voices in my head. So they knew that I was unwell.
Yeah, and what's ironic is, I'm getting goosebumps because it's taking me back to the time where I was with you as a student, your last 2 years in high school. And, talking to you now is like talking to you when you were a sophomore.
Yeah.
But hearing what you're saying is taking me back to those times where you were in a space that you were a completely different person. And it was scary, and it was something that people are not used to doing, handling. It's, unless you're professionally trained for something like that, it's in a whole nother, stratosphere, basically.
It's a whole other realm. It's like one of the 9 universes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's wild.
Yeah. So from there, you got on the bus.
So I get on the bus. Let's see, what bus was it? So from there I get on the median train, the K line. I get on the K line. I sit in the cornered area of that K line with reflective glass. I'm looking at myself in the reflection glass on the K line.
Okay.
Which is right outside of Reardon, right outside of City College, on Ocean Avenue. Shout out to the amazing Ocean Avenue in that neighborhood. So I get on the train, and I get a transfer, paper transfer. I only had money to get that one train ticket and that paper transfer. I had no other money. I had no cell phone. Before they were so cool. And I look in the reflection of the K line at me. And Vittorio, it was like, you ever seen those movies where the mirror is of the individual, but it does something different than the individual?
Right.
So imagine living that in real time. That reflection became the devil of me. And he is screaming at me at decibels I will not do to this microphone. That I have to die, that I'm a horrible person, that I'm useless, that I'm worthless, that I have no value, that I'm a burden to everybody who loves me, and I have to kill myself immediately as soon as humanly possible. And he just went on and on for, I don't know, the K ride to the other bus. Not to say what bus was, I don't know if people get ideas. The K ride to the other bus was maybe 10, 15 minutes tops, maybe, given the stops. I get to the other bus, I get on that bus with that one transfer, no money, no cell phone. I sit in the very back row in the last seat. Eventually 100 people board this bus or more. And I'm sitting in the very last row in the back seat, and I begin to cry. No one knows, I'm trying to cry softly, mildly. then it starts coming more profusely, and then waterfalls are flowing from my eyes like I am in the most emotionally disturbed, lethal emotional pain I've ever experienced, and I'm just watering. It's flying out of my eyes. Mucus is dripping from my nose. I'm not wiping it down. It's just dripping off my face. And that is when the guy next to me turns to the guy to the left of him, points at me with his thumb with a smile, coach, on his face, and says, "What the hell's wrong with that kid?" That was my only audible reaction to the greatest pain I've ever experienced in my life. And coach, here's the problem. All I wanted, I couldn't tell my dad that morning. But on that bus, coach, all I wanted was for one human being to see my pain and say something. I had made a pact with myself internally as the voices were going. If one person says to me, "Hey kid, are you okay? Is something wrong? Or can I help you?" Those three exact sayings, I would have told that person everything and pleaded with them to save me. But the only person that said anything to me was this guy. What the hell's wrong with that kid? Smiling like I didn't matter. Then, coach, this is the worst part about it, because now everybody's about to find out what's wrong with this kid. After he says that, I start screaming aloud on a crowded bus of 100 people against the voices in my head. And this is verbatim what I said. "Leave me alone. I don't want to die. I'm a good person. Why do you hate me so much? What did I ever do to you?" At the top of my lungs. 100 people look at me. And then 100 people look away. The bus gets to the Golden Gate Bridge parking lot. It wouldn't have taken a genius to figure out what I was doing there. Everybody deboards the bus with their cameras and their phones and their foreign accents from all over the world. I'm sitting there crying like it was the worst day of my life. And the driver stands up, tall black guy stands up, turns around, says, "Come on, kid, get off the bus, I gotta go." I walked up to him, I looked him in his eyes as water is pouring from mine, and he goes like this: "Get off the bus." I stepped down, my feet were heavy, my heart palpitated, my eyes were red with tears, and I walked on the span of the Golden Gate Bridge walkway. I paced back and forth across the span of the Golden Gate Bridge, which is 2 miles, for 40 minutes. 4-0, crying like a baby. Bikers, joggers, tourists, runners, and police officers searching for suicidal people went by me twice. I'm leaning over the rail at a very particular light rail, crying my tears to the waters below, alone. 2 cops bike by me, stop, look at me, and keep going. They, to their credit, had not been trained in suicide prevention in the year 2000. They are uber trained today. Those officers save anywhere between 52 and 72 lives a year. Yet one person dies at the Golden Gate every 7 to 10 days. But you know what's great about those officers? Roger Ilaria.
I know Roger.
Roger Ilaria. He tried to wrestle, didn't he, once?
Yeah.
Did he quit the team? Something like that. Or did he? He was on the team for like half a second. I felt like he came to like 3 practices.
Yeah, he was involved. I think he wrestled for a season or so.
Maybe a season or 2. Okay. So Roger Ilaria. By the way, this is a wild story. Roger Ilaria, when I was at Reardon High School, was the first person to tell Mr. Picasso I was suicidal.
Wow.
Roger Ilaria was on the Life. Is it called the Life Team or?
Yeah.
The Life Team. Roger Ilaria was on the Life Retreater team, and he wore they had a necklace to wear.
Yeah,
the
Marianus cross.
Marianus cross. I had to get one of those. How do I get one of those?
I'll give you one.
Yes, good, okay. So Roger Ilaria from the Life Team, I felt like the Life Team was faith-based and they would protect other kids, you know? That's what I felt. That's a good definition, I think.
Yeah, the Life Team is a community building program.
Community building program, but Roger Ilaria was one of the best.
Right.
He was the kindest soul at Reardon. And I'm going to show you something. When I took a knife to my wrist, the night my mother told me that she said, "Kevin, for the first time since 1985, I wondered why I adopted you." Now, you know I put that woman through hell.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger than she was, I scared her, I put holes in her drywall. I don't blame what she said. On the day she told me that since 1986 she wondered why she adopted me, I took a weapon that I bought with Jake Lewis, and he bought a matching one, and I started self-harming right there. And DMX's song came on. I just bought the album, and it came on, and the words were these. Right as I begin the incision, the words are these: "I'm I'm in so much pain. Lord, please take me away. Then you hear the voice of God. God says, no, I put you here to do a job, and your work ain't done. To live is to suffer, but you're still my son. And there will be a time when you shine as bright as the stars, but there won't be a his or hers, just ours. At that moment, on that day back in the day before my attempt off the Golden Gate Bridge, I removed the weapon from from the incision. I got what's that clear tape it's kind of like duct tape. It's thick, but it's package tape.
Okay.
I got some packing tape and I wrapped it around the wound because it's so tight that it wouldn't bleed. I put on a long sleeve shirt and I let it go. That was actually the first time I ever attempted to harm myself. I didn't know if I was thinking suicide. I don't remember thinking suicide then. I remember thinking I wanted to die, and I remember thinking I have to hurt myself. But self-harm leads to suicide. So that was I jumped when I was 19. When I did that thing in March, I was 18. So back to the story at hand. So Roger Laurie, I want to tell you that quick story. So Roger Laurie at Reardon High School sees, we had our long sleeve sweaters, right, from Reardon, the V-neck sweater. And I guess I had forgotten and I rolled it up. I totally forgot. The tape was off, but the wound was there. And Roger sees it like from a mile away. He sees it because it was bloody a little bit. So he comes over. He goes, Kevin, what is that? I said, nothing, Roger. Don't worry about it. He goes, no, Kevin. How did he was freaking out? How did that happen? And I had a moment where I was just like, I did that. He goes, you cut yourself. I said, yeah, man. And I was like, oh shit, he's gonna tell. It was an accident, but he knew it wasn't. Roger Laurie immediately went to go see my counselor, Mr. Marty Procaccio. Procaccio came to me, brought me to his office in the counseling department, sat me down, and he had already had my mom and dad on the phone. And we're on the phone with my mom and dad. Now my dad's in his office downtown, my mom's at home. Somehow they've conferenced in, I don't know how that worked, whatever, they're both on the phone. And Mr. Procaccio says, Kevin, I want you to tell your parents what you did. And I said, I'll never forget this, Vittorio. I said, I cut myself with a knife. My dad goes, where'd you get the knife? This is his first question. I told him, he goes, I'm going to kill Jay Lewis. But my mom says, Patrick, be quiet. And my mom says, I don't believe you. And Marty goes, Mrs. Hines, I'm looking at the wound. And she goes, he didn't get that from that. Denial. She was convinced that was not something her son would do, which I can appreciate.
And that's a normal response from parents.
My dad just wanted to know how to say that.
Yeah, they see the best in their kids, and it's a very common and almost most common response from parents is, not my kid.
Not my kid.
Yeah.
I've never actually told that story in its entirety publicly.
Wow.
My point of that story was that Roger Laurie, who recognized my suicidality then, has now become one of the greatest officers to protect and save lives at the Golden Gate Bridge. Every day he is there. Every day he is there. Every day he is saving lives. And he happened to be partnered to Kevin Briggs, who is this huge advocate for mental health now, who has a TED Talk that has been seen by 4 million people. And Kevin Briggs was the officer in charge of my write-up. He was my case manager when I jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. So Roger Laurie is now an officer at the Golden Gate Bridge and saves lives.
He's been there. I think it's been his main career in life. And I'm not sure if I'm right about this, but I'm almost certain that he's the commanding officer now. He's like climbed the ranks.
I didn't know that. I knew he was moving up, and I knew he is one of the best there. Another guy, and I think he went to Reardon, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. A guy who I know today is called Jose Sanchez. Did you go to Reardon?
I believe so.
I believe he did. Jose Sanchez has stayed in touch with me. I spoke at his son's school last year.
Mm-hmm.
It was phenomenal. I spoke at his son's school, talked to his son, did a video with his son, and he came to both speeches. And Jose Sanchez Jose Sanchez and Roger Laurie used my story when they engage with someone who's about to take their life off the Golden Gate Bridge. They say, I have a friend who did this.
Wow.
And when they say that, people go, what do you mean? Oh, you have a friend, he's dead. No, he survived. And they go, but most people don't, and you won't. You won't survive. Can I tell you Kevin's story? And Jose recently told me that every time he asks kindly, if he can tell them my story of how I survived this and will never do it again, he said every single one that he tells the story to stays. And more importantly, they allow him to tell the story.
Wow.
They're like, yeah, tell me some stupid. They're pissed off. They're in a bad place. Tell me the story. Whatever. And a lot of these people are over the rail on the court. I never got on the court, Vittorio. I ran and I flew.
Right.
And it was the millisecond of free fall that I had instant regret for my actions and the 100% recognition that I just made the greatest mistake of my life and it was too late. Over 2,000 people have died at the Golden Gate Bridge. 1.8% have survived. 39 individuals have survived that fall. 5 of us can walk, stand, and run. There's a book, and they call us the most exclusive survivors club in the world. By Ben Sherman, it's called the Survivors Club.
Wow. And do you think there was like a sobering adrenaline effect that gave you that clarity as the moment you left?
So there's actually a group right now that I'm looking into that believes that the suicidal intent that so many people live with at the moment before their attempt is directly related to an adrenaline rush and psychosis combined. As in the moment before someone attempts to take their life, their adrenaline spikes. And because it spikes in the fight or flight mode, which is a very confusing time for anyone in any situation,
Definitely.
that is what potentially causes the brain to have the irrational thought that suicide is the answer. Now, Vittorio, this is huge. Because if we can prove that an adrenaline rush spikes someone to die by suicide, we can then find a way to reduce that adrenaline rush in that situation. There's a woman right now trying to reach me, trying to do that, and have me be the spokesperson. I'm going to do all my research first. I'm going to bring in my doctors and my friends, and we together as this group might actually find a way to track people before they get suicidal. Can you imagine?
That's amazing. We're back to recording, took a little break, and I want to get back to the story, which is I didn't expect us to get this much into detail, but it's been great. It's been actually eye-opening for me as it's shown me a whole side, because you and I never really sat down and talked about this.
We never had this conversation.
No.
Which is what my mother's so mad about.
Yeah.
I never asked my mom how she felt when I did what I did.
Right.
And we videoed her for this documentary, and she told me that she felt abandoned by me.
Right.
That I abandoned my brother, who lives there, who has Asperger's syndrome and other things, born addicted to crack cocaine, and that she felt abandoned by me the same time I felt abandoned by her. I never knew that perspective. I never knew that she thought that because of my disease, what she said in the interview was that I became a different person. I'm not the same person that she raised, and she has a hard time reconciling that I'm still a good person, and she believes I haven't done the work to balance my brain health. So she feels completely abandoned by me. But the crux of the conversation was that she wants to rebuild our relationship. This is a woman who I haven't engaged with properly in 20 years.
Wow.
In 20 years, at 18, my mom kicked me out on the street, in the porch, in the rain, with my clothes on the porch. Patrick came to pick me up, my dad. And I never looked back. And we've had a relationship. I've gone over to multiple Christmases and her birthdays and Mother's Day. We've had cordial conversation, but she has not been there for me for 20 years. And I look at it differently after the interview we did the other day for this new documentary, Cracked Not Broken, the film, the prequel to Suicide Ripple Effect. I was only thinking about me and how I felt. I was only thinking about how I felt abandoned by her when she kicked me out on my 18th birthday and counted down the days until my 18th birthday. And it said kick rocks. I never took into account how what I did altered her. I jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and I haven't had the conversation with my mom to say, how did that make you feel in 20 years? There's no wonder we don't talk. Because all I do is go over there and tell her about, she's my mom, so I want to tell her about my accomplishments and how great my life is now and that I'm successful business-wise. But I forgot in the midst of all this, I guess, what's the word? Self-involved.
Okay.
I think if I'm having a moment of reflection on your show right now, that I'm too self-involved. And I'm going to be honest about that. And I think very rarely people are really honest about that. I think I focus too much, at least with my mom. I'm not saying in general, but with my mom, I'd go over and she'd have Christmas, and I'd be like, hey, Mom, look what this happened today. It was great. And she's upset because I never asked my mother what I did to her.
Right.
And we touched upon it briefly in the interview, and after the interview, she hugged me and said, Kevin, I just want to have a real relationship with you. I don't want to know about your successes. I see you're successful. That doesn't matter to me. I want us to fix us, is what she said. And neither of us have asked each other of that